guys, it is Kevin here, Bruce on Kevin's channel in Japan with another storytelling video, and today I'm going to talk to you about maybe not the happiest topic, but it's how I miss my daughter's birth. Alright, so first of all I want to thank you for liking the video and subscribing to the channel, and I'm going to take you on a little walk in a neighborhood in Japan and tell you my story. So here's the deal. Earlier this year, my wife and I had our second child. We had a little girl who's healthy, happy, and doing awesome, okay? So pregnancy is coming to an end, and actually my daughter is slated to be born during the Golden Week holiday here in Japan, which means I've got a lot of time off to be there and experience it. And I took a special class, so I was able to be in the delivery room in Japan. At least where I live, you have to take a special class at the hospital. I was there for my son's birth. When my son was born, I was there for the entire 27 hours of my wife's labor, and got to be in the delivery room and watch my son come into the world. Now, just a couple of days before my daughter was born, my wife's son and I decided to have a picnic. And we went to a local park, a really nice park by our house. And we went to a convenience store, which is called a konbini in Japan. And we bought food. I bought a dish that had meat and tofu and rice, and they got something different. Well, the following day, things didn't seem right with my stomach. And how shall I say, well, let's just not beat around the bush. I was walking around in diarrhea town. I started having some diarrhea, and it progressively got worse and worse and worse. And it got to the point where it was happening maybe every 10 minutes or so. Well, it got worse, and it got worse, and it got worse. And then I started getting a fever. I was on Tuesday. On a Wednesday, I'm still sick, and the diarrhea is getting worse. We're talking every 5 minutes now. Well, my wife said she started to feel a lot of stretching in her stomach, and she thought that maybe it was going to be coming soon, the baby was going to be coming soon. So on the Wednesday evening, my wife, who's a tough lady, she prepared dinner for myself and my son. I couldn't eat at that point. I hadn't eaten in a couple of days, actually. And my son ate dinner around 7 o'clock. Well, after 7, she said, "Kevin, I'm going to call a taxi and go to the hospital." At that point, I was just, oh God, I was all messed up. I was like curled over in pain, constant diarrhea. So she took a taxi to the hospital, and I stayed at home with my son, my 2-year-old son. I felt horrible. I couldn't stop sitting on the toilet, and I was able to get my son to sleep that evening. And around 10:30, I wake up in bed, and there was a photo on my phone. My wife SMS'd me a photo of my new daughter, and I missed it. But obviously I was really sick and I couldn't make it to the hospital. So the next day, things get worse and worse for me. But I'm able to get to the hospital with my son to see the baby. And we stop in the hospital, the neonatal ward. We see the baby. On the Friday, I'm able to take my son to a barbecue that he really wanted to go to. But Friday evening, by the time I get home, I'm a real mess. It's gross, but let's just say there's a lot of blood involved, okay? A lot of blood. And I actually passed out on the floor of the bathroom, and my son screaming woke me up. He was pretty scared, and rightfully so. So the following day, my mother-in-law comes and takes my son away, because I can no longer actually care for him physically. I can't take care of him. I can't take care of myself. So she takes him to his great aunt's place, and she lives on a farm out in the country. And I go to the emergency room at the local hospital and get 2 liters of saline drip. And they do all kinds of blood work and fecal analysis, urinalysis on me. And they figured that doctor thinks it was a viral infection, but later on other doctors have told me that it was probably a bacterial infection, and there's a good chance it was E. coli. So I was sick. I wasn't allowed to go and see my wife and the baby for some time. And because they were worried that they might catch something I wasn't allowed in the hospital after that. The doctors told me I'm not allowed in the hospital around where my wife was, because for fear that I might get people sick. And my son wasn't allowed near the hospital or allowed near my wife because he might get them sick. Wow, check out this house. Isn't this cool? Oh, that old house. And this one's wild, man. There's something back here, like an old estate of some kind. Wow. That wall. Yeah, so in time, later on, my wife was discharged from the hospital. She went to her parents' house for a few days. My son was able to go to there too. But almost a week after my daughter was born, she was able to come home and I was able to see them. And I was healthy finally. And I lost a lot of weight. Now, the thing is, I don't know. As I look back at it, I used to be a little bit like, why the hell did this have to happen? Why did I have to miss my daughter's birth? But you know what? No pun intended, but it literally gets chalked up into the shit happens category of life. There's nothing I could have done to prevent that. I just had bad luck, and I got really sick, sicker than I've ever been before in my life. But at the end of the day, I've got a beautiful little daughter, I've got a beautiful wife and a beautiful son, and all is good. And I live in a place where I can show you lots of cool things like this. So take care, guys. Kevin here in Japan, and remember, like the video, share with your friends, and click all the links below. See yas.